Of a couple of the other areas that we're actually going to be showing you today. We're obviously going to be working through some of the key functions of TriSys. We're going to start the presentation and take you through the CV parsing, show you how to get a CV in and open up a candidate record. We're going to move on and show you what a contact record looks like and how we've integrated with the social networking sites, the company record as well. And then we'll move ourselves over and we'll actually open up a new requirement and show you how to set one of those up and then do some searching, which takes us over into the middle area of the screen. Searching is very simple, very straightforward, very flexible, incredibly powerful tool on here. And then finally we're going to look at some of the reporting. Reporting totally configurable by you, not to be mistaken for the dashboard, which is a separate part of the system. Configured to meet the needs of your business, for the consultants, for the directors, for the financial people. Different reports can be configured for each individual person. So a huge amount of power available to you. So let's start the presentation with the dashboard and show you some of the key functional areas on this. As I said at the beginning, this is all configurable by you for your business to meet your needs. These screens give you information that is key to showing you how well you're doing and what the key activities and core activities of your business are and where success is coming from, and perhaps where some of the challenges are as well. We won't go into micro detail on this, but give you a little overview of the sort of things you can do. Here's a financial forecast for the company. We're showing the margins for a contract in blue. We're showing the permanent fees in purple. And then we've got a forecast for the business across the screen. You have some options on here to reconfigure that. We've got a range of different dials and clocks that are available on the system to show you some key performance indicators. Here we've got, for the temporary market, we've got shifts worked last week. We've got contractors working this week. You could change that to permanent starters if you wished, or a similar parameter. We've got a financial forecast by each division, and you can see we've actually split it down into Cambridge, horticulture and landscaping. So we can see now this is done across a period of years. You could do this across a period of weeks or months if you wish to. We've got a placement value here by consultant. Our chart's showing them over a number of years. Again, you could do that over a period of months as well as required. And then finally, we've got a forecast by consultants. And we've got here one of our consultants detailed up on the screen. Just to briefly show you, you've got some options on here so you can change the way these charts look. So just nip into the designer and you'll see a whole range of different tickers, charts, dials, and goodness knows what else is available for you to show your data in the format that suits you best. And again, you can do that for some of the other screens as well. So just briefly moving in here and showing you some of the different graphical representations that you require. So highly configurable, bespoke to you, only use things that are going to be of value to your business. So we've given you a range of different items on here. Moving further into the dashboard, we've now got a screen that is of great value really to individuals, or as a team leader or as a manager, because what we've got is a little summary of activities for the forthcoming period. We've set this up for the forthcoming week, and you can see we can have a quick look at our diary schedule. This means that a consultant can have an overview of the key actions and activities they've got for the forthcoming week. They can be made aware of those, they can make any necessary changes, etc. It's also very valuable for a manager or a director of the business to have an overview of a colleague who perhaps hasn't made it into work today or perhaps left the business. Live requirements here, we've got our contract vacancies to give you an overview of those. You can, of course, create reports for those individual items. We've also got the permanent or the temporary assignments on here. So again, at a quick glance, you can make sure that you don't forget any key vacancies that are actually on the marketplace. Any interviews you set up can be highlighted. We've got a list here of contractors working, and we've got a couple of blank screens that we haven't actually filled in yet. So as you can see, there's a lot of information in here that enables you to have a complete overview of what's happening in your world as an individual, or overview what's happening for your whole team. So what I'd like to do now, I've been taking you through the dashboard. what I like to do is actually show you how we actually get a CV and parse it into the system. We've enhanced the parsing now, so not only are we going to take details of the person's personal details, address, telephone numbers, etc., we're also going to take core information out of the CV as well. I'll show you that working now. So we simply highlight the individual. We actually go in and just simply key the CV Auto Recognize button for TriSys. And what that will now do is actually will take the details from the CV and it will automatically open up a candidate record. So the parsing is not only going to take the basic information out of this person's CV, it's also going to take across their job history. It's also going to take across details of their education, details of their notes field as well. You can see that's processing. On the left-hand side, you'll see the CV with a rather dated picture of a famous Newcastle footballer. And on the right-hand, you'll see that we've actually currently got a blank area. This is actually now going to autofill with details from that person's CV. First CV you load up always takes a couple of seconds. Once you've loaded it up, the system actually moves very, very quickly forward and loads the details in. So you can now see that the CV records are now starting to fill. One of the things you might want to do is if some of the areas for some reason are missed off, you can simply highlight them and drag them across to the blank spaces on the screen. So it means that if any areas have missed off from the parsing, then obviously you can have a look at those. So here we've got an example of that screen there, and you can see that I'm on the right hand side now with the mouse. I can simply just highlight the number and I can pull it across and drop it into a field. I put it into the country, which is probably not the most useful place for it to go, but it gives you an idea of how you actually just complete any incomplete records. So the candidate's details are in there. We've also now got details of their work history, and you'll see that it's actually brought across the dates and the employers and job description as well of that person's job history. It's an enhancement from the previous version of TriSys. If you need really detailed parsing of CVs, then we can obviously recommend you work with one of the partners that we've integrated TriSys with. There's no education history on the CV, so that field hasn't moved across. But what has actually auto-filled is some skills and attributes. This is configurable by you, the users. You pick key skills and attributes that you want to see in the database, and we find those records from the CV and bring them across into this field. However, there are clearly risks of doing that. It might bring information that isn't relevant. So you have the capability of manually adding skills that might be useful for you. This is completely configurable by your organization. So I have qualifications here that we've programmed in to meet our needs. We've also got some skills in here. So working our way down this list, you can see that we're working in the horticultural sector. And so we can simply add some skills that we found from the CV that we wish to add to that skills and attributes field. This will allow us now to do searches on those, and you can see them appearing within the box in the middle of the screen there. At the very, very bottom, you can see that it says duplicate candidates. It would give us details here if there were any potential duplicate candidates on here. And you have a number of options at the top of the screen to deal with duplicates. On this occasion, we don't have any, so we won't worry. So we'll simply just actually click on the Create New screen, and we've now got, starting to formalize, we've now got details of the candidate. And you can see now we've pulled across into the record of TriSys the home details of the person. We've got a copy of their CV, which can be put into different formats. We've also got some ID information that you might require. Again, any drop-down such as this is configurable by you as a user. We've got a free-form comments field, nationality, and you can attach any documents you wish as well to this person's record. We've obviously got a summary which we've pulled across from the CV as well. So in here now you can see a lot of details about this particular individual. Now, I've actually got a record I've opened earlier just to show you a couple of additional screens in here as well. I'm not going to save the records of that previous candidate. So, identical screen, it's the candidate screen, but in addition on here, we've got the social networks. We've got an interface to the social networks. What it allows you to do is to actually quickly access their LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter profiles. If you actually want to do a search of these profiles for potential candidates, you'd need to work with one of our partners where we've integrated who specialize in doing searches of these areas. And again, if you wish to post to these or the job boards, again, we would recommend you work to one of our partners. So on the LinkedIn here, we've got details of this person's LinkedIn profile. We simply click on it and we can now see details of their LinkedIn account. And we can obviously look at some of the details of this individual on here, which might be useful for profiling this candidate or other work that we might carry out with them at some point. So within the candidate record, we have a huge amount of information available. You can also obviously add details of their bank account, etc., for processing of payroll and back office requirements, etc. So the company screen looks very, very similar to the candidate screen. In addition to the information that we showed you on the candidate side, we can obviously see history here as well. So every communication and contact I make through TriSys is recorded. We have a high level of integration with Microsoft Office and Outlook in particular, and Word as well. So you can see a history of actions and activities we've carried out for this individual. You'll obviously be able to see a schedule of tasks we've got on here and any previous placements we might have for that particular person. So there's an awful lot of information available for you on here to show you exactly what you've done with these people in the past. Let's move on fairly quickly now and show you what to do to set up a new requirement. So we're going to do a permanent requirement on the sheet at the moment. And actually what we're going to do is a new requirement. TriSys prompts you all the way through to show you exactly what to do. It's simple to pick up, simple to learn, and don't forget you don't have to remember anything we do here today. This is simply a presentation of some of the core features of the system. We obviously provide full training and support for you when you take on board TriSys. So the first thing we're going to do is just put some salary in here. We obviously have a choice of putting in annual, daily, weekly, etc. So I'm just going to put in an hourly just for speed on here. Just pop in some details. It's going to start filling in the chart on the right hand side. I've got a number of different options on here to put bonuses on. I'm going to add a couple of those things in just a moment. I'm going to add a fee percentage very, very quickly on here, and you can see I've now got a very, very low fee, so let's put a few extra points on that one. We've applied that against it. I can go into that, by the way, and make any changes I wish as I work my way through. So, for example, I can put benefits in here. So if the person's having a car, I can add that. I can put the value of that car in there. We'll give them quite a cheap one at £10,000. And we can apply that across as well. So as you can see, quickly putting in the fee is very, very straightforward and very, very simple. In terms of doing a search, you've got a number of options. The searches in TriSys are incredibly powerful. You can search in essence virtually any field of the database. So one of the things we will do is actually show you putting a search in here in just a second. So let me just actually add a job title in here. We're going to recruit for a botanist. And we're going to put a client detail in here. So the client I'm currently talking to on the phone will be Charles Avery, who's a regular client of mine. So just quickly sit his details in. Charles Avery, here we go. We just look them up and select, and now his field has been added to the requirement. So very, very, very simple. So next thing we're going to do is do the search for this. And we're going to drop down into the search field. So the searching, very, very flexible on here, very, very powerful. What I'm going to do here now is add a couple of fields into the searching. And just moving across the screen here, I'm going to actually now just put a couple of requirements in. Searching, you can search for any field you wish on the database. It's a very, very straightforward facility. You can search freeform across the CVs. You can search by their remuneration. You can search by the body of the CV. You can search by, in fact, any of the fields you can see on here, which is fairly extensive. Just to reference back to a couple of things we actually popped in earlier, we put some attributes and skills in, and we put those in specifically for the sector that we're actually working in. So you can see here, I've got horticultural skills in here. I can put lawn care in as a search. I can put planting in. You can configure these to meet the needs of your business. And what it does now is it'll actually show me the amount of people who are available with those skills, and I can work my way down and add further skills to my search, or I can amend the ones I've got in here as well. So I've got availability date, comments, CV search, a lot of different areas to actually carry out those searches by. And again, you can amend those as required. So we can look therefore perhaps for qualifications, just simply putting in a couple of qualifications, and you've actually changed the search. And I've now got 16 people who are actually available within that field. Once you've actually got the list of people available, and again, you can make these as simple or as complex as you wish, and you can save your searches so you can reuse those on a regular basis without having to go through the whole process again, or you can amend them as you work your way through. What we can simply do now, we can actually look through that list. On the left-hand side, you'll see I've got a CV viewer. So where there are CVs for the individual candidates, I can actually see those CVs as I work my way down the list, and I can peruse that CV to see if the person's suitable. Alternatively, I've got a candidate summary that will enable me also to look at some referencing on some of the history of our previous conversations or previous placements that they may actually have. One of the things you might want to do, obviously, is write this to the person or contact them in some way, shape or form. So what I can do now is I can simply highlight an individual that may be of interest to me, and I can now actually start to use the templates that are